Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. And pull this down a little bit. My name is Rose and my channel Starting Over with Rose. And I want to welcome you into this space where we're going to talk about loss. Loss of a family member, loss of a home, loss of a job, and finding hope again and rebuilding from the ground up. If you've ever lost a loved one, a home, a job, and maybe even your sense of direction, you're not alone. I've been there and I'm here to help you navigate that journey. And so to tell you a little bit, I am a widow. I lost my husband the night before Katrina hit. He didn't pass away the night before Katrina hit. He had a brain bleed. And that brain bleed sent him to the hospital and ultimately sent him to a long-term nursing facility for about 14 years. And then just before the COVID pandemic in November, I think the COVID pandemic was in March, is when he finally passed away. Well, how did my life change forever? Well, for one, I had to grieve twice, not just once. So my first grieving process is when he had the brain bleed and was in the hospital and the nursing facility. So I had to deal with him not being present. I had to deal with 3 children on my own. At the time, I had a teenager, 19. I had an 8-year-old and I had an 11-month-old. So I had to navigate daycare, after school. I had to navigate the weekends, those type of things by myself, along with financial responsibility. So yeah, it took maybe about a year before it is that we even were able to be seen to get Social Security. So yeah, I had to navigate that by myself. Not only did I have to navigate that by myself, but the loneliness, not having adult interaction that I'm normally able to speak with. No, I didn't have that anymore either. I did have lots of friends and family, but there's only so much that you could talk about to friends and family. So if you're watching this particular channel, let's go ahead and get into it. You know, when you have someone who has a terminal illness, that person acts much differently. My husband had a brain situation, and so therefore there was a stranger that I was dealing with on a daily basis. I would try to go and see him often so that I could let the staff at the nursing home know that I was present, and to try to protect him a little bit from any abuse or anything that might go on inside of the nursing home. And I'm sorry for my table shaking or whatever, but yeah, I tried to visit him often, and I would take all 3 children often so that they can continue to know their dad and have a relationship with their dad. My husband didn't think correctly because he thought that everybody was out to get him. Everybody was out to hurt him. And so he had acts of violence where he would kick another resident. He would throw milk at residents. He would talk crazy to staff. He would refuse therapy. He would talk crazy to me, talk crazy to the kids. And so there came a point where I had to just go ahead and say, we're not doing this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to live our life, because this situation that you're in at this particular time is something that could have been avoided, but you chose not to. So at some point I had to let that go. Was that hard? Yes. It was very, very, very hard. But it's something that we had to do for the sanity of the rest of us who did not suffer from the illness. With my husband, there were doctor's visits. There are some things that I saw that were, my goodness. My husband developed or had diabetes before he had the brain bleed. Okay, so there was one particular time in the nursing home, again, he had brain issues, and so he had no short-term memory at all. And so there was a time when he thought he could walk and he couldn't, and so he went to stand up and fell out of the wheelchair. He fell out of the wheelchair so hard, he didn't have the mental capacity to put his hands down to brace himself from the fall. And so he fell so hard till he hit his leg extremely hard. And that leg developed gangrene. Now, they wanted to cut the leg off. However, he refused to let that happen. Well, when I went in to the doctor's office for them to check to see if there was any blood flow in the leg, and they lifted up the leg and they showed the bruise itself, it was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous. And the doctor just pulled up his pants leg, and I guess he thought I saw it before, but I hadn't. And I thought I was gonna pass out. So you have to deal with that. And then again, dealing with the children and their parent-teacher conferences and their acting out and whatever else. So yeah. And so as I state, I had to deal with the grieving twice, because I had to deal with the first of him leaving from the house into the hospital, into the long-term facility, where he stayed for 14 years. 14 years. And then finally he passed away, when it is that I could really grieve that he was gone. And so to deal with cremation, that was another issue, because the wrong funeral home or crematorium picked them up. They had the same name, but they were in different areas of the state. And so the wrong one picked him up, and we had to figure out where he was. So that took a minute, and all the paperwork and all that takes, yeah, we had to do that. So, yeah, we didn't have a funeral, because funerals cost a lot of money. And at that particular time, we didn't have a lot of money. So we had to do what we could do. And that's something that you have to talk to your family about. And you would have to go ahead and determine that prior to. My husband, when he had the brain bleed, I'm trying to think of how old he was. 43, I think. 43 years old. So we had insurance, but it lapsed. And so, yeah, when it came down to burial, we did not have the money. So if you're watching this and you're feeling lost, what helped me? Here's the first steps to rebuilding your life, even when it feels impossible. Okay? So step one, you have to acknowledge where you are. All right? Healing starts with honesty. So you have to be honest with yourself. And did you give all that you could prior to the loss of your loved one? Your job. Did you give all to your employer that you could prior to losing your job? I know that the federal workers that have lost their job, I'm sure that they did. And, you know, when you work for the government, you think that that's a safe job or a job that you could retire with. But due to changes in administration, they lost their job. Then there are those who suffer from catastrophic losses, like the people in California who their homes burned unexpectedly. And yeah, they may have had insurance, and then others may not have had insurance. But how do you pick up and rebuild? What do you do? Be honest. You know, it's gone. It's gone. We had some very good memories. We did a lot of great things. Give yourself permission to grieve, and don't let grief define you. That's not your main purpose in life, is to grieve. You know, you have another day. Use that day and enjoy life. Second, redefine your purpose. So what I mean by that, what do you want? How do you want to live the remaining of your days? Are you looking for a new career, or would you like to start a business? Are you looking to build a new home, or would you be okay with renting? Are you looking to live in an apartment, or do you have to have a home because you have a larger family? Learn to love life again. Get up out of the bed. Crawl out the bed. Brush your teeth, wash your face, even dress. Even if you work from home, get up and get dressed and get ready. When you go out, make sure that you look your best. Make sure that even if you don't feel good, you look good. And people will compliment you on that, and it'll make you feel better. Also, take small, consistent steps. You know, you don't have to figure it all out today. You don't have to work out all the problems today. You know, when my husband passed away, I had to take one day at a time. No, I could not afford each and everything, but what I could afford is what I did. No, they couldn't get the toys and the clothing and all the extras that they got before, but I gave them my time. I gave them my love. I gave them what I had. And if you don't have any support system, join a community. You know, there are a lot of Facebook groups. There are a lot of community groups that help with grief, that help with loss. The Red Cross helps a lot with picking up the pieces when there is a catastrophic something like a tornado or a hurricane or fires. Use the resources that are available. Never be too proud to ask for help. Never be too proud to shed a tear in front of others. They may be able to help you. They may be able to walk you through the dark times. Also, you know, if it is that there's things that you can remember, get a journal. Write those things down of the beautiful times that you've had. You know, in marriage, you have ups and downs. Don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on that. Go ahead and focus on the positive. If you focus on the positive, maybe you like to fish together. Maybe it is you guys had some DIY projects that you sit back and you laugh about and you say, wow, we made a mess of that. And you could sit and laugh about it. Maybe you could remember your first date. Or maybe it is you remember that song that made you guys so happy. Reflect on those good times. Share those with others. Maybe there's some little kid that would like to go fishing. Maybe you could show them that. Maybe there's some little kid that likes to barbecue. And that's something that you and your loved one would do. Barbecue. Show them how to do it. You know, many times the older ones will show us how to crochet and knit and paint, and we can do gardens and all type of things. Take advantage of those situations and help someone else. And you know, the Bible always says, giving is better than receiving. You feel so good when you give to others, when you give them your time. It doesn't always have to be money. But if you give someone your time, if it is that you know that there's someone that's sick and they like a little casserole, make that casserole for them and take it over there. They would love that. Do those little things just to take your mind off of the negative and help you to cope and get through the valuable things. Also, there's so much training out there for those who have lost jobs. There are so many different avenues you could take. For instance, I'm looking into digital marketing. And so I will be creating an ebook that will talk about how to rebuild your skills so that you are able to have your own business and you can set your own hours, make your own money, and there is no ceiling to what you can make. You can make whatever you desire, whatever your goal is. So again, don't look at the negative, look at the positive. In conclusion of this particular video, what I'd like to do is I would like to go ahead and always remind you to hit the subscribe button. Go ahead, please, and hit the like button, subscribe, share the video out if you know that there are others that are in similar situations who may be uplifted by the information that's provided. Always remember that there is life after loss, whether it's financial, whether it's loss of a dead loved one, whether it is a home, a business, whatever. There's always life after loss. This is not your last chapter in your book. As a matter of fact, it could go on for a very, very long time. Remember that the loss is not the end. You could always start over. And there is a new beginning. So always keep going, because there are better chapters ahead and you can write them for yourself. I'll see you in my next video, and always remember, again, this is not the end. Go ahead, keep climbing. You'll make it. It'll be great. See you in the next video.